I gotta kill you, you bastard!
Here's the juk. All you see is crooks. Shout out to Havoc, good looking on the beat. Forever P. Street life was good. About to go in, son. Look, red bones and red bottoms. Like Red Bull, we gon' give them wings, we red dot them. Candy rappers, send them in, we red hot them. Headshot them, go against my grain, get head problems. Big dummy, garbage rappers, we red fox them. Shoot an actor in high depth and red box them. Tip the scales in my favor, stay in your top 10. If life's like a triple beam, I'm weighing my options. Y'all like why meth, you high meth. Keep a big popper, cause I ain't ready to die yet. I digress, or I'm just too intense to digest. Stretched in a Pyrex, compliments to my chef. Game ain't been the same since I left. Is they really crooks or just a pain in my neck? Wu-Tang, ain't no lanes in my set. Fresh pair of Nike Airs, I just do it for my check. I'll be the first to tell these rappers, get your bars up. Shout to P, you know it's havoc when we mob up. I tell that smut, date over, pull your drawers up. Cigar guts, all up in the club, putting squad up. Throw your squad up. Throw your squad up. Throw your squad up. Cigar guts, all up in the club, putting squad up.
I swoop in, shooting like I'm paratrooping. We all in, we riding, we carpooling. My whole crew, we diving, we platooning. Salute me or shoot me, Huey P. Newton. Your buffoonery is quite amusing. This is not monkey business, stop cooning. It's a method to my madness, I know what I'm doing.
Shalom. Welcome back. Well, you know where we at. You know how we looking at this. You can unmute, say a few words or whatnot. In the background, I'm gonna let you know I'm gonna be, I guess, sending the link out, the YouTube channel. I didn't quite do it yet today.
Yeah, well, what's going on with it, man? We back. So back with some more some more shovels in our hand to dig deeper on things that folks been talking about, man. So yeah, even with some of the other folks that was on and some of the interesting perspectives of some of what we read, with the timelines kind of being the some focus.
Okay. Well, that's good. That's good. Like obviously last night we had a little, I guess, opening discussion because remember the topic came up from last week, particularly of this topic with Joel 3, which is very good actual topic to begin with. You know what I'm saying? And I said, well, since we're going to do all that, we might as well tie in all of the chunks that go together with it. You know what I'm saying? I have, obviously Joel 3, which is the main swing, Zechariah 14, Isaiah 23, you know what I'm saying? Jeremiah 3, and I believe you said Jeremiah 6, But I think we need to definitely address the things, the tools of the history of the prophet Joel, so that, some of the viewers, that who are not familiar with it, they need to know a few things, you know what I mean? Because in reality, that's very limited information about that particular prophet. You know what I mean? So, that's one of the things I want to make sure that we get it out there tonight. But today we're gonna give you your day of what's your take of, how you feel on it. I mean, I believe last week when we was all questioning about it being fulfilled, I think you took a side. I'll let you say how you look at it as, in fulfillment or whatever. And mine was, I said fulfilled, and then a couple of other guys says they disagree with it fulfilled, and obviously that was the great tool too. And I believe two of my guys and a Christian guy, he looked at it from his point of view as fulfilled. Which later on this week we're probably gonna have his point of view. We're gonna have the stage, and I'm gonna probably give my point of view, like complete breakdown of a few things, and then we're gonna come back again I guess on the weekend, try to set it up where all of us are kind of on here at the same time, and we can like literally scrutinize each other's points of views. You get what I'm saying? But
Hmm.
meanwhile, I'm gonna turn it over to you while you're talking. I'm gonna be, sending the link out so others can see the YouTube channel. I didn't get a chance to do it. This is like a spur of the moment. But buyer beware. Trust me, they will watch. They always watching. All right, they're always watching. So if you want me to,
What was room 202's position on it real quick?
uh, he's saying that it's a future, far in the future prophecy, and that it didn't take place yet. And he said a few things within scripture chunks that kind of like lined up with other, should say, similar prophets or view or point of view of different, I would say, different situations, which all has similarities, which we was trying to explain to him that yes, you'll have similarities here or there, but there were certain points where you read the overall picture, and in the end, it did not actually go word for word with the other prophets. But there are some prophets that have dwelled on the same matter, to be honest with you. But he didn't happen to choose none of them. I believe, to be honest with you, Isaiah 23, Zechariah 14, all of those actually tie in with it. But there were some that he brought out that actually did not. You know what I mean? And it was funny that he even chose Micah. Uh, he said Micah 5, which I was like kind of appalled that why did you didn't choose Micah 4? Because that gives you similarities too. But it
Yeah.
doesn't matter. That is point of view. You know what I mean? But yes, there are similarities going on because it's the same old saga with the same old house. But Joel 3 kind of gives a little bit more details of what it's talking about versus the other ones, which is more widespread. But Joel 3 is one of the ones that we definitely want to address because this topic, I think, when it deals with us with this Torah and Tanakh stuff like that, a lot of brothers don't really know a lot of these ins and out of these things. It makes good for us to have these kind of discussions. You know what I mean? We call it friendly fire or you know fair, non-biased type setting. It's the best way to deal with that. All right. But meanwhile, like I said, I'm gonna turn it over to you. If you want me to put up that chapter from, I guess, from the Septuagint, I will do that. But meanwhile,
I
we
could
bear
read for now and just build a slight basis, man, on how I feel that it was what was
all right, well,
being
either
relayed
way,
in
just
here.
give it a clean breakdown. I'm only reason why I'm saying put something up so that the viewers can have a actual point of view of what's
Mm.
going on, so that we don't like also paraphrase. You know what I'm saying, even though when we started out, we were using the KJV, which I don't like to use the KJV, but for those purposes, I do. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
All right, shalom, 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 brother W.
Shalom, shalom.
Peace,
Mm-hmm.
family. What's going on with you?
Man, just waking up from a nap, bro.
Ain't nothing wrong with it.
Boy, I'm nap champ.
That quick knock.
Man,
Meanwhile, let
recharge
me
nap.
put it up for Aaron, and then you could take over for there while I in the background I advertise. All right,
All right. All right.
give me a second here. I mean, I'm probably not going to roll the picture. You're going to obviously read it from your own manuscript anyway, but I just want to put it on the screen.
Mhm.
I don't know if you can see that, but I'll keep it there on that. But meanwhile, I'm going to mute up and I'm going to go in the background and try to do what I have to do to advertise and get these views up. All right.
Hmm. Yeah.
I'll be back in a few. I'm still here, but I'm just saying I'm gonna mute myself. All right.
Well, I know
Just
you
got
just came in. I know you just came in, Dodie. So it's just about to be a quick. I think yesterday some of the people on the panel were building a platform or a foundation on what they thought Joel 3:6 was pertaining to. So um
Uh, Preferably verse 6.
I mean preferably the one. Now I can see it on the screen, but I'm just gonna go on my phone over to it as well. Let me know if you can still hear me. I exited out of the book.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, Joel 3. I like to start with verse 4. Dang, I mean, I don't know, bro. It all hit from the top, might as well just go from the top and then get over there to verse 6 and 7. So I think one of the brothers was on here that brought this up originally said he believed Joel 3 has not been fulfilled when it says the Lord judges the nations and goes on down. I would say I agree with that. But this
Right.
verse in particular that we're going to read about has been fulfilled. So I would say that there are certain places in here which is indicating, future, like as in like latter day future, I would say. Even though saying latter day still doesn't exactly specify things. Um,
Right.
but but verse 6 in particular, I would say for sure has already been fulfilled whenever it speaks about Tyre and Sidon selling Judeans to the Grecians.
Hmm.
Just to start with like a solid answer and then build from there. Because I want to read down to verse 6 and not jump, but just give more context into this. So Joel chapter 3 in the Septuagint, it says the Lord judges the nations. And I'm just gonna start reading on this. So it says, "For behold, in those days and at that time, when I shall have turned the captivity of Judah and Jerusalem." And even that sentence and how it's worded right there, we'll get into some more clarity and try to use co-witnesses in the scriptures to help bring
But
clarity
I,
to what
I
I would
got a
say.
feeling that whoever would try to jump to like Hezekiah, when the nation was as of one, but that
Mm,
don't make sense because they go
yeah.
in captivity right after that. But go ahead.
Yeah, no, I do see, how reading this and keeping both perspectives in mind helps you to check boxes, right?
Hmm.
So verse 2 it says, "I will also gather all the Gentiles and bring them down to the valley of Jehoshaphat, and will plead with them there for my people and my heritage Israel, and have been dispersed among the Gentiles, and these Gentiles have divided my land, and cast lots over my people, and have given their boys to harlots, and sold their girls for wine, and have drunk." Verse 4, and what have ye to do with me, O Tyre and Sidon, and all Galilee of the Gentiles? Do ye render me a recompense, or do ye bear malice against me? Quickly and speedily I will return your recompense on your own heads, because ye have taken my silver and my gold, and ye have brought my choice ornaments into your temples. And ye have sold the children of Judah and the children of Jerusalem to the children of the Greeks, that ye might expel them from their coasts. And then verse 7, "Therefore, behold, I will raise thee up out of the place where ye have sold them." Dang, you know what? That one right there hits. That one right there, verse 7, might hold its weight in gold. It says, "Therefore, behold, I will raise them up out of the place where ye have sold them, and I will return your recompense on your own heads." Dang.
Mm.
Um, and then it goes into, "And I will sell your sons and your daughters into the hands of the children of Judah, and they shall sell them into captivity to a distant nation. The Lord has spoken it." Getting into things that would, what I believe would indicate future prophecy.
Hmm.
So, but going up into that verse 6, I think so. This entire conversation was highlighted from what I can see, and I did not get a chance to finish either one of the lives that the brothers were building on. I did get a good foundation and synopsis, I believe, from what I was hearing, but um, verse 6 seemed to be the critical point, you feel me, where um the brother that brought it up said nowhere in history did verse 6 occur, so therefore that has to be future. And then I'm not I'm I'm not sure what E's position is, but I think I have somewhat of an indication on E's. And then True, from what I was hearing, he was saying that this was fulfilled in Babylon, um,
What?
or was contemporary to this time. True, I hope. True, hold on, man. I'm not misrepresenting you though, am I?
I hope not. I would pray that that is
Not at
not.
all. Not at all. You're not misrepresenting me because, like I said last night, I said we start to see the fulfillment, particularly of Joel. That's why I highlighted that particular verse in the Ezekiel 26, where it starts, and it lets you know by whom you know does that recompense. And then it goes beyond that, and obviously it goes further into details into Zechariah. You know what I mean? And I left it at that way. So it's not that the Babylonian captivity itself, the Babylonian captivity itself, doesn't really have anything to do with it. It's about
With this
the
prophecy?
right, the actual uh prophetic thing. I mean, if you give me a second, I mean, I know it's your spot tonight. I can pull up Ezekiel chapter 26 and maybe Ezekiel chapter 16 and address that portion, that because it's critical that we deal with why I said in Ezekiel 26, all right,
Yeah,
dealing with Joel 3 now.
yeah. But Ezekiel 16 might be one of the best co-witness chapters to get clarity on this. So I'm glad that
Mhm.
we are in understanding on that. But also,
Oh yeah.
um, also in Deuteronomy, where it shows that, when it speaks on enemies and speaks on certain people that will be doing certain things, I mean, that would be more of a foundation,
Hmm.
to lead up into
Yeah,
these
just like I
prophecies
mean,
that we're reading.
when I actually do my actual take on it, which will probably be by Wednesday. I'm going to probably go into details of a lot of that Ezekiel 16, Ezekiel 26, Ezekiel 23, Jeremiah. I'm going to go into deep details of that, and I'm going to give some backstories with it too. And I'm going to probably give a little bit of details of the whole narrative from Joel. So when you see what I'm saying in the end, yes, there's not one position of fulfillment in every verse what you got to say. So you're going to always have that, and I'm going to explain that when I do my take. So I understand what the brother was talking about, but
Hmm.
he can't take this one prophet, right, and then combine them with all the other prophets. Because, like you say, if you're doing that way, then we might as well go back to the source in Deuteronomy. You know what I'm saying? And then there you go. Then you can say, well, every one of these prophets is talking about, even though it's a different nation this time with this one particular, and then there's a different nation in another prophet is talking about that he dealt with, like like Assyrian captivity, the Babylonian captivity. The Most High dealt with all of their positions, so nobody can deny that. But Joel is a perfect spot because this chunk of Joel, it names and points to Tyre and Sidon, but it's not talking about all of the enemies complete that Israel had have dealt with, and that's what I was trying to say, that he was using scriptures out of context. It has similarities, but this one right here, separated by it obviously has details, and that's what you're reading when you, especially that verse 6 and out. Actually, from 4 and out. If you think about it, you get more, like I said, when I do it, I'm going to show you more context from chapters 1 and 2, and possibly 4, because there's some manuscript that has a chapter 4 in it. Not all, but some. But no, you can go ahead and finish.
Well,
You're doing good.
yeah. Well, I think that verse 6, man, like, well, actually 5 too. 5 says, "Because ye have taken my silver and my gold, and ye have brought my choice ornaments into your temples." There's,
Hmm.
uh, I hope I'm not jumping the gun or nothing, but doesn't that seem like spoiling the temple, or spoiling where the treasures were kept at, or spoiling the Judeans' gold and silver? Is that not kind of what that's saying that Tyree's guilty of? Would you agree with that?
Right, right. But you got to look at it also, and I don't want, it's your spot. I don't want to kind of throw you off a little bit, but it says, because you have taken my silver and my gold and have brought my choice ornaments into your temples. That is definitely saying, specifically, it's talking about to carry, Tyre and Sidon, you know what I'm saying? And all the Galilee of the
Yeah,
Gentiles. You know what I'm saying? So it's
yeah,
definitely pointing, pointing in the details of a specific group, not like saying like the Greeks, the Greeks did bad for us. We know the Babylonians did bad for us. But this one right here, this is letting us know direct, who is Joel referring to. And there's some history also, like Tyre, you can say names. I don't want to say it tonight, but Tyre and Sidon had kings. So at one point, we do realize that there were close relations going on with them, even through David. But then that changed later on. You know what I'm saying? And they kind of became enemies. But yes, I would say that would be kind of like on the level of, yes, exactly as it says, because you have taken my silver and my gold, and you have brought my choice ornaments into your temple. You know what I'm saying?
yeah.
Now
And the
that could also
Judeans'
be
choice
metaphorically true.
ornaments,
Hmm.
yeah, but the Judeans' choice ornaments in their silver and gold, when it speaks about this, it seems as if they sacked the temple. So we know during the Babylonian captivity.
I kind of see that too. What you're saying, that too. But yes, not
No, no,
necessarily
no.
that they're in it. Mhm.
No, I'm not saying I see that. I'm saying that that's what Joel's seeing. That's the vision that Joel is seeing. So Joel's receiving the vision, and in this vision, he's seeing that the Canaanites are spoiling the temple. And not only are the Canaanites spoiling the Canaanites are going to sell the Judeans to the Grecians. So that's a vision that Joel is having. So here's my thing. We understand heritage and timeline. So this can't be pertaining to the Babylonian captivity because the Canaanites did not siege the temple. The Babylonians did. The Canaanites did not sell Judeans to Grecians. They went into exile into Babylon
Mhm.
for 70 years.
Mhm.
So we know
Mhm.
this can't be talking about that time period. So when is it talking about? And here's my
No, no,
ultimate
no, 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 no,
position.
no, 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 no. I'm saying as far as like when you look at the first portion, and what have you to do with me, O Tyre and Sidon, and all the Galilee of Gentiles? You should have question mark. Do you render me a recompense, or do you bear malice against me? Quickly and speedily will I return your recompense on your own heads. And I'm saying Isaiah 26, not Isaiah, Ezekiel 26 shows how the Most High starts his recompense against Tyre and
Yeah,
Sidon. That's that.
yeah,
That's
yeah.
what
No,
I'm
I
saying.
agree
That's the
with
part
that
that has to
though.
do with Babylon. It has nothing to do with Babylon. Like I said, it has nothing
Okay.
to do with the Babylonian captivity. It's absolutely nothing. That's like a side note within the Babylonian captivity. Obviously, because
No,
he
but
came
I
through.
agree with that. I'd probably say for sure post Babylonian captivity is when we start seeing some of these pronouncements, and some of these
Right.
things actually
Absolutely.
occurring. So I do see certain things that were meant for a certain time period, but at the same time, I don't see it being a totality. Like, but even with this Grecian portion here, that's my thing, like from the one other brother that brought that up, I think he's the only one that gave a distinct time frame for what I've heard. He said that Joel 3:6 is pertaining to future, and that in the future, whenever there's an Exodus period, it sounded like he was saying, and when there's judgment on all the nations, that that then Canaanites are going to sell Judeans because there's going to be a second captivity. And I don't agree with any of that, but I'm just saying he gave an answer. So
Well,
I
that's a
haven't,
good point. That's good point. Good point. Good point. Look at that verse
but
6.
I'm
Look at
gonna
that
give
verse
my
6 because that's.
answer on that though.
Mhm. No, no, no. I
Yeah.
want you to do that. But I'm saying, look at that verse 6. Look at that verse 6. And ye have sold the children of Judah and the children of Jerusalem to the children of the Greeks, that you might expel them from their coast. Now,
Hmm.
I'm saying that particular situation here gets, taken care of. Obviously, what ends up happening when recompense, through Nebuchadnezzar. Guess what? There's two parts to that, and that's what I don't think he understands. The first part, you know, he said he didn't find it in history. Well, like I said last night, Ezekiel 26 is one of the sources of the history he needed to look into for Nebuchadnezzar. And we know if Nebuchadnezzar handled, Tyrus and Sidon, he may have handled that part about conquering them. But later on, right? Later on, that part of that recompense, as far as those children, that were sold to the Greeks and et cetera, something recompense happened towards that too. Because guess what? Even to this day, they no longer actually exist. They're in
Exists
ruins
as a
too.
nation.
Right, they're in
Yeah,
ruins right now
but
too. So that
but
also
the whole
kills his
thing
cat
would
of it
be
being future fulfillment. I'm saying that it's not future because guess what? If you have no longer them there and no longer there, what do you think? What were you saying that Joel was making this up? Because that's what he'd be doing next. Because I'm gonna show you
no, it's a
several
vision that
times
he
about
saw.
fulfillment. Right, exactly,
But
exactly.
do you think that there's a distinct marker point in history which shows this occurring though?
A marker point
Because
in
my
history.
because hold on, and this is why I say that because
Mhm.
I don't deem history, modern day history, as the end all do all whatsoever. And even when it comes to something like this, that's a great question that was brought up, and that's why it sparked this conversation. When in history
Mhm.
do we see uh Tyre and Sidon selling Judeans to the Grecians? That's erased.
Right. We don't
Hold on,
actually. That's a good point. We do not see
hold on, Tree,
them
hold on,
doing
Tree, hold
that.
on, Tree, hold on, Tree,
Mhm.
hold on, Tree, hold on, Tree,
History.
hold on, Tree. Yeah, but that's my position. That's why I don't deem history as the primary source. I see these scriptures as the primary source. And then if history does
Mhm.
align with it, of course, I would I'm not against it whatsoever, but I see a lot of pollutions in history, especially in these timelines, because it deems them authoritative. Then now we're led down a path which can go to the Apocrypha, which goes to Josephus, which leads to the New Testament,
Absolutely.
which leads to 70 AD, which leads to all that. And I don't, and that's what needs to be out in the air. I don't give credence to these Europeans for sieging our land, for spoiling our temple, for 70A being a historical thing. And that's where I go off the beaten pathway because that's not what I'm reading
Mhm.
in these scriptures. Even what we just read in Joel chapter 3, it shows Tyre and Sidon we're gonna spoil the temple. And then whenever we read, like you're saying in Ezekiel 16, we're gonna read about these nations round about them sieging the land, sieging the temple, killing people, stoning people,
Mhm.
doing all kind of shit. Where in history is it recorded that the Philistines and the Amorites, and Canaan and Tyre, even Edom, were doing all these things all together as a joint force because that was a part of the punishment on Judah at the time for their
Mhm.
idolatry. And we read that literally in Ezekiel 16, since you worship their
Exactly.
gods, since you sacrifice your children to their gods, now I'm going to
Mhm.
recompense that blood back on your head and I'm going to uncover your nakedness to these people round about you. So that's my point though, true. That's what Joel
Mhm.
3:6 is also harmonizing. The people round about Judah, like Canaan, like the Philistines, like Ammon, like Moab, like all these places, they're the ones
Mhm.
that were confederate against Judah. Not no damn 70 AD that only Josephus witnessed. That's where, to me, there's an extreme issue. That's the contradiction. That's the problematic issue right there. That's why it's not making sense. You can't take both and walk synonymously with them. That they collide, they intersect. And here's a good intersection. Like this is a point where we all have to like reflect. If we can't see these recordings in history, however, we see like Ezekiel 16, and we even see all these other plethora of places showing and recording what nations are going to be doing what. Now, which one do we deem authoritative since they're canceling out? Modern day
Mhm.
history would purport and show all of these, empires and the Seleucids and the Hasmoneans and
Mhm.
leading up to the siege and the desecration of the temple done by Europeans. We see here in Joel 3:6, Hamites sold
Mhm.
Judeans to the Europeans. We don't see
Mhm.
nothing about the Europeans being able to come and desecrate our temple and be in the Holy Land. We don't see that. We don't see that at all. Actually, as a matter of
Absolutely.
fact,
Absolutely.
we're gonna go through a lot of co-witnesses and show and prove that, like you brought up, Ezekiel 16 is gonna show thoroughly. It's gonna
Yeah.
name drop these nations. It's a recording of what occurred,
Mhm.
you know?
But keep, like I said, keep
So
in
that's my
mind,
take on it.
keep in mind. I'm not disagreeing with what you're saying because I don't want to go into what I'm going to talk about, which is some similarities into what you're saying. And like, if when he's looking at these scriptures, obviously he didn't use the Septuagint. Number one, that's
Mhm.
why he has to stop and really, really, really home in onto it how it's being, I should say, pronounced here. It's not necessarily saying at the same time that such and such so. Remember that verse 4? And what have you to do with me, O Tyree, and Sidon? Comma, comma. In all Galilee of the Gentiles. Question mark. In all Galilee, guess what? Now we have a problem because some of our own became part of what you call these other nations, ways, etc., etc. It's been stated through different prophecies. Jeremiah specifically, learn not the ways of the heathen, because you know why? Be just come like the heathen, okay? But that Galilee of the Gentiles, even though it's in English, that's kind of like what's going on here. And in Ezekiel 16, going to give clarity to that. Yes, Tyre, Sidon, and all the other nations, they took part of it, but it's still going to go back to the original ones that did what? Follow those other nations, become like the other nations. And who's at fault? The Most High tells you who's at fault in chapter 16. It tells you that clearly. All right. And you are correct. When you go back to the Torah, Deuteronomy, and all that, it's going to say, who is the actual one that does the actual allowance and such and such. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to say it too much out there. I don't want to mess up the whole thing because this is a good topic. You know what I mean? And giving credit to the enemy is like an absolute no-no because you and I both know that it don't work like that. It don't work like that. Okay, they take
No, it
credit for
can't
things. Yes.
possibly work like that. I mean, even with the Northern Kingdom, they were they were dabbling in idolatry and harlotry with the Assyrians, and that's who
Absolutely.
was used at the same time to recompense their ways. And it's almost like, and we even read
Absolutely.
languages where it shows that they make covenants with these nations. So blood is a
Hmm.
requirement, especially if you spilling your children's blood to their idols and you're making covenants with them. Now that recompense is back on your head. That's the way it was intended to be. My whole thing is there
Hmm.
was no covenants made with no European nations with the children of Israel. We don't see that. We only see that in history.
There were
We only see that
there,
in history.
did you notice last night? I even stopped Eve when he was saying his, the little portion he was starting. I stopped, you know, at when he was counting the beast and all that stuff. I stopped him at the fourth, and I left it as what we can actually read in the Hebrew manuscript. I don't care. I care less about the Hellenized writings. I care less about the Roman writings. But when it came down to this particular thing, I said a majority of this is the history that we need to utilize. We don't need to find this in what you call outside source history. No, but when remember the question, the guy was saying he doesn't read it. So I was only saying you could actually find it in history if you go outside sources based upon that. That he admitted that he didn't even really like look into that part. That's why I'm the one that said the Achaemenid Empire, which that is biblical because that's in our that's it that's there, that's Cyrus and his people. You know what I'm saying? I said Yehud Madanata. That's Judah. That ain't Cage. That's still in our manuscripts. That's the Hebrew, records. What else did I say? The Greeks, we don't have too much mentioned about the Greeks, but yet we find that only in Joel. Okay, the only time. And then we go to Zechariah 14. The saga ends there for the Hebrew writings. So, in reality, you're never going to be able to say, well, the Greeks, the Romans, and et cetera, to begin with, because that's not a part of our we don't even supposed to be looking into that anyway, detail into that.
No, but the Greeks recorded their slave history and where they got slaves from majority.
Hmm.
And I don't
But
think that
like
has anything to do with
they did, but you got
recompense.
to remember, is it credible for us? Is it credible for us to be even concerned about it? That's what I'm saying on that level.
No, not at all. No, no.
Right, right, right. So a lot of this we need to come to a conclusion from the sources that we have. You get what I'm saying? That's why I stopped it at the Zechariah, because Zechariah, if you look at it, Zechariah 14 is the end of all ending And you can't go no further than that without either coming up with your own or either going outside sources. And if we leave the outside sources out, guess what? Now we have to find it in the scriptures. And to turn around and say that, oh, this didn't happen or this happened based upon what you can't find in history, that's not kind of going to work, because this has exactly nothing to do with them. So we shouldn't find it in history. And if we do, guess what? We're only going to get it from their version of it. You get what I'm saying? And that's not going to be the truth of it.
What you mean as far as verse 6?
Anything pertaining to this particular chapter, we're not going to find it when we in our own manuscripts about it.
Oh, no.
The only way to right. So when I say find it in our manuscript, we can find it, but we have to like do research through the manuscript without using the outside sources.
But that would contradict, because no captivity will we expel from our coast. Every captivity that we spent when we was in our homeland were amongst nations that were close bound. So
All right, let's look at that. You're talking about the verse 6, right? I mean, the
right.
particular one, verse 6. And ye have sold the
Mhm.
children of Judah and the children of Jerusalem to the children of the Greeks, that ye might expel them from their coast, that ye
What does that mean?
might, like, that you may, put them in a situation where they don't, I guess, keep their heritage, literally. It don't necessarily mean like expel them, like literally, like put them in the mindset to forget their heritage. That's how I look at
It's,
it. But it's written in that way. Like I said, these manuscripts are not original, so
hold
it's
on, True.
anglicized,
Hold on.
transliterated that
True.
way.
Slow down. True, slow down. What is the
Mhm.
definition of expel?
The anglicized this definition, we would have to look at it through the Hebrew.
We read in English, so we gonna stick with what we read. Like that's what they
Mhm.
translated to the English. So just to be fair, let's just
Right.
stick with the
All right.
English.
Well, like we
So
gotta remove that word might. Then we have to say that ye expel them from their coast. It says that ye might expel. That's the reason why I said what I said, because it says that you might. That means you may do it, or you may not do it.
they did it.
Okay. Yeah, of course. Because think about it. Where what happened to the
Yeah,
in the
but hold
captivities?
on.
There
I
were
just
no
want to get into
on
the
their coast.
definition. This means to force someone or something out of place.
Correct. Put them in
Right.
exile.
So right. To force something or someone out of place,
Mm-hmm.
organization or activity, or to drive out something from the body.
Mm-hmm.
So to
Absolutely.
expel you from the coast is to remove you from your homeland. Like the prophecy said,
Absolutely.
you will move far from your homeland where you will see no more.
That's correct. We're scattered, so we're not in our homeland, right? That
Right.
happened
So
several times. So that would be obviously on the more side of that was fulfilled.
you said what?
That would be more pointing to more on the fulfilled side, not the
Oh,
not fulfilled side.
we are the an example of this fulfillment. We haven't
Mm-hmm.
seen our homeland. Our fathers haven't seen our homeland. So yeah, we can
Mm-hmm.
confirm that this prophecy has been fulfilled. Then we can also go to history to see when this started.
Oh yeah, but what I'm trying to do is, as far as the history part, because the brother said he cannot find it written anywhere in history. I would say I have to say the opposite. You get what I'm
Right.
saying? You can
hmm
find it in history, but should we be using it? No. But it's for him to say that he can't find it in history was my problem, because
But
you can find it in history.
it's documentation. You go from a man to actual product, cargo.
Hmm.
You know what I'm saying? That's
Absolutely.
this fulfillment of your heritage, your land, everything. Every army is associated to some type of land. Every government
Hmm.
is associated to some type of land mass.
Hmm.
So that right there is like, okay, when was it? I think it's in Psalms when they're talking about the
Hmm.
nations gathered to get rid of us and be a nation no more.
Hmm.
You know what I
Absolutely.
mean?
That's
It
another.
was a
That's
psalm.
another good point where there's really no. When it comes down to this Joel 3 part, there's really no way around it. for someone to say that it wasn't fulfilled, when it comes down to the particular verses that he pulled, it's no way he can not see it fulfilled and then say you don't read it nowhere in history. I mean, how can you not? You can use your own book. That's the book itself is a history. But, I really can't, because he only went as far as what he was saying up to, like I highlighted from that little bit of section there, from 4 to I believe here. Anything else he didn't really address. So, but this part here, I can look at this as fulfilled. So I don't know what he's talking about.
Yeah, that's wild. That's a wild
You know what I mean?
perspective to take. But like
Hmm.
my understanding, like it goes from what Joel was talking about, future um things to happen, meaning
Hmm.
after his time, and things to happen after that time. You know what I mean?
Correct.
Like a
And
total.
it also kind of like he said, I speak for him on this because he was correct. It was common to know that Tyree and Sudan, the two nations, basically were also trafficking even
Yeah,
way before. You know what I'm saying? So I can't see how the brother did not see that. You get what I'm saying? Trafficking was
right.
going on there. Like I said to Aaron in the beginning of this, I said at one time, yes, Tyree and Saddam were in good, I guess what you say, relations with Israel. But then things happened later, and then they became, you know, hate enemies. Literally, that's what Ezekiel 16 tells you that when you read that in there. You know what I mean? It tells you these things. There's really no getting around this. This is a fulfilled. It's no way he can try to use this any other way. But I'm being fair on his part because he has to show what portions he has a problem with. But no, like I said, it's just Aaron's spot tonight, so he can have his spot. But I understand certain things that we're gonna address. Good point. Good point. I'll turn it back over to you, Aaron. You guys is doing good. Just keep it going. Keep it going. Keep it going. This is very interesting.
I don't know if I think Aaron dropped.
Oh,
He might have got a phone call.
okay, okay. I don't know if he heard what I was saying because I wasn't even on this. Like I had my screen. I was still on the screen, but I wasn't looking at the screen. I didn't see it drop.
Man, this thing started messing up on me shooting. You can hear me?
Yeah.
Man, I was talking and I don't even think this joint was, man.
But yeah, go
No,
back to what I don't know what you was saying, but go ahead. You was doing good with it. Good point. Good point of view. See,
Nah, but
April
the
G.
point that you
Crawford
had
says she can't
made,
stay long, but peace. All right. Shout out to April.
nah, that point that you were saying that Judah and Canaan were in good standings uh from times, they definitely were. Ezekiel was talking about how, Judah was a merchant.
But notice,
And
notice though how you saying Canaan, right? And I'm not saying anything, but notice how you're saying because you have an understanding of Sidon. You have an understanding of it. I mean, I don't understand why a lot of these brothers do not. So you could say the other names, like if you can sit around and say instead of saying uh, the names, you can say the Philistines. You know what I'm saying? But
yeah,
when we read it in the KJV, it says that modern word, which
yeah,
I
I just
don't
think
know.
it's
You
more
can think of that.
transparent that way, but that's why they do these transliterations. These transliterations kind of incline you to think more past certain time frames and certain lineages, like
Hmm.
and and kind of like in the era, the I think it was like the iconograph era or some shit where they all started to make all these illustrations. Whenever they started naming these new names was around that era. So now you mentally are thinking about lighter skinned people, So,
Hmm.
but if you bring it back to the father, you feel me? Like that's why I like talking, and being like, no, this Canaan right here that did this. Like shit, this Egypt
Hmm.
right here that was doing this. So that way it's not your modern day terms to just help,
Yeah,
you know, push
the
a
modern
certain
terms give you a
narrative.
false. You know what I'm saying? A false. You know what I'm saying?
No,
It's
but I was
misleading.
yeah. No, but I was saying that to say because Ezekiel 27 showed that Judah was a merchant with Canaan, so they were in business with each other. Like, and they
Yeah,
were
good,
selling in
good,
wine, oil, and all that. So, you know,
absolutely.
they already had trading going on via ships and vessels, you know, coast to coast and shit like that. So, when we read Joel 3:6, I could see how if things turn sour, that they, you know, could understand when, why, where, how to transport these people because they were already doing business with them, you know, as well as doing business with the other enemies of Israel, you know. So, um,
But like I said, save me some because I want to like when I do mine, I'm gonna do talk on some of the same because that Ezekiel 16, as you said, but no, keep it going, keep it going.
No, but
But
I actually want to read Ezekiel 16 because here's my position, and this is where, like I said, I'm gonna go off what most people believe, and I'm okay with that because it's what I'm reading and what I believe is way more harmonic to our ancestors and the scrolls and the recordings that we read. You know, putting history to the
mhm,
side, I wouldn't have to use a lick or a source of history or a timeline. The only way that I would need to use it is if I was comparing it and showing these contradictions. But my whole thing is this: if we read about these nations being used against Israel, or I'm sorry, against Judah, and we've read it even from the source of Torah, what that these things will befall them. We understand there's nothing new under the sun. That these are the same. That the nations around Israel were the ones that had more to do with the sieging, the killing, the scattering, the selling, and all of that
mhm,
rather than Titus. And that's my position, and that is my main position. Joel 3:6 helps to shine a light on the fact that modern day history is not just flawed, but it's polluted. I wouldn't even say flawed because it wasn't an accident. It's not an error. It's so egregious to do this to someone's history, to someone's truth. It's really egregious to superimpose your colonization and find gaps and loopholes and gray areas to implement your ideology and your books and your manuscripts, and your mentality. And that's my main position. Certain
mhm.
scriptures like Joel 3:6 help shine a light on mainstream manipulation. And it's been going on for far too long. So that's why I take a back seat when it comes to using history, shoving that down people's throats and using that as a guideline and a template. The template, the blueprint is clearly Torah and Tanakh, like reiterated by the ancestors. That's clearly what the template should be. So if if historical sources don't align, don't fit in with this template, don't aren't accurately measured with this blueprint, it's not gonna build, it's not gonna work. We ain't gonna be able to have stability. And that's where I've been at. And there's a shitload of flaws in it. So
It's
I
too
don't
it's too it's too bad that we was not able to have been in that because he said he was in a clubhouse room when they had a debate going on, and that's where he came in with this. I mean, I don't know what the other guys were saying, but if they were like what we're talking about, how we're saying is, I don't see how he could have came out of there as happy camper with this not being fulfilled. That's all I can say. But I wish I could find that room, and then we could get into that room. You know what I mean? 'Cause this topic would have been a good one to really like let all of this out.
and but yeah, since there's not, last night there was more of an open panel and I saw that folks were more aware of it. So it would have been a better night to have an open table discussion. But I'm gonna since there's not really that going on right now as far as tossing around timelines, ideas, when, where, why, how, I'm just gonna read here soon this Ezekiel 16 to really highlight
No, no,
why.
go ahead. You can do that. I'm just saying, long as you know what I'm saying, I think I would let you know that I was gonna use it too. It's no big deal. I could care less, but it's there. But go ahead.
Yeah. Huh?
You're welcome to when to put it. I'll put it on the screen anyway.
Yeah, yeah, but that'd be cool if you could put that Ezekiel 16 up there. I'm not gonna read the whole thing. It's really long, but I am gonna read most of it.
Mm-hmm. Give me a second here. Get it up there. I don't know if it's changed on the screen or not. Because like I said, I got to go out
Yeah.
and go back in. All right, it came up. All right. All right. You can go ahead. Anybody from the gallery, if you want to come on, the links are all up in there. You know.
Yeah. And I'm gonna go to my where I was reading from so I could just see it.
Mm-hmm. Any particular
And the
verse you
reason,
want me to scroll to?
yeah. I'm almost there. So, um, the first part, I mean, just to summarize, it's not really too deep, but it's just saying how, and and let me know if you agree or not, but how, from the infancy to as Jeru or to as Judah grew older, they started to feel themselves. They started to really dabble in the things they shouldn't have. They were seeing themselves as royalty, seeing themselves as high, not being humble, not being meek. They understood who they were, and and they started dabbling into idolatry pretty heavily. And
Mm-hmm.
this is the unfaithfulness, and that's why it starts off with Jerusalem's unfaithfulness. How these people, went from covenant keepers into harlots.
Mm-hmm.
So skipping that analogy, um, I want to go maybe verse 20. Let's go verse 20.
All right. But like I said, you
No,
see
no, no, no.
how
Actually, 15. Uh, you saying what
I mean,
though?
like, there's nothing but gems in here. So I mean, whatever you
No, it's all
choose,
straight
point gems.
gems, man. It's all
Mhm.
straight gems. But I am gonna stop at where is it at? Where that 16? Dang it, I was just there. I am gonna stop at the covenant remembered because I think that right before there is well, I'll let it ride, man. So let's start with that 20. Actually, let's go with that 15, man. Let's
All
go with that
right. I just highlight the whole thing
15.
to that point.
I
It's
know, I
nothing
know.
but gems there anyway. Even when you go to 23, it start getting gems.
But this is why I'm saying, like, we get the period of Babylon in which we see the Babylonians sieging the the city and taking uh the people into a 70-year captivity. But with this vision right here, it seems to be for after this because it speaks about things that I don't see occurring during the Babylonian captivity. So that's why I say this would most definitely take the place of the 70 AD understanding because there has to be some, it either was that or it's going to be this. So,
Well, that's why I said even last night, I tried to say to him that the saga continues. As long as we keep on going whoring and doing all that other thing, what do you think gonna happen? You get what I'm saying? But I'll let you have it. But it's plethora of gems just in this alone. You know what I'm saying?
yeah. So, all right. So, Ezekiel 16, verse 15, it says, thou didst trust in thy beauty and didst go a whoring because of thy renown. And didst pour out thy fornication on every passerby. And thou didst take of thy garments and madest to thyself idols of needlework, and didst go a whoring after them. Therefore thou shalt never come in, nor shall the like take place. Um, where was I? Where was I? 17. And thou tookest thy fair ornaments of my gold and of my silver, of what I gave thee, and thou madest to thyself male images, and thou didst commit whoredom with them, and thou didst take thy variegated apparel and didst clothe them, and thou didst set before them mine oil and mine incense, and thou took it from my bread which I gave thee. Yeah, I fed thee with fine flour, oil, and honey, and didst set them before them for a sweet smelling savior. Yeah, it was so, saith the Lord. And thou tookest thy sons and thy daughters, whom thou borest, land didst sacrifice these to them to be destroyed. Thou didst go a whoring as if that were little, and didn't slay thy children, and gavest them up in offering to them for an expiation. This is beyond all thy fornication, and thou didst not remember thine embassy. when thou wast naked and bare, and didst live though defiled in thy blood. And I think that's a major gem right there, because it shows that it verbatim says this is beyond all thy fornication. So whenever uh, these Hebrews offered up their children and sacrificed them to the idols of these nations round about them, the Creator just said, "This is beyond all thy fornication," and even shows that they even did worse than their sister Samaria even did. You know that they really hoard up the land pretty much. So this is going to be their punishment for it. And it came to pass after all thy wickedness, saith the Lord, that thou didst build thyself a house of fornication, and didst make thyself a public place in every street. And on the head of every way thou didst set up thy fornication, and didst defile thy beauty, and didst open thy feet to every passerby, and didst multiply thy fornication. And thou didst go whoring after the children of Egypt, thy neighbors, great of flesh, and didst go whoring often to provoke me to anger. And if I stretch out my hand against thee, then will I abolish thy statutes and deliver thee up to the wills of them that hate thee. Mm. So 27 saying, and if I stretch out my hand against thee, then will I abolish thy statutes and deliver thee up to the wills of them that hate thee, even to the daughters of the Philistines that turn thee aside from the way wherein thou sinned. That right there is a gem. He name dropped one of the neighbors of Jerusalem, being the Philistines, and said that I'm gonna
Absolutely.
deliver you up to them that hate you. You know, since and we know that 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 the Judeans were in the bed with the Philistines. That's one of the nations that they went a whoring after. So
Say it again. Say it again. Say it again. We know. We know why.
yeah,
Because guess what? Of certain things that was already taking place already. You get what I'm saying? This is a record of their hornhood. You can say it like that, correct? Ezekiel
yeah, it's a
16
record.
is a
It's a
record
recording.
of what they have done. They already. But
But
go ahead.
but this is
You
my
hit you
thing
hit
though.
Mad
I
Jim.
wouldn't.
Mhm.
I would actually, I faltered right there. I wouldn't say this is a recording, since this is Ezekiel, and I would say this is a vision. I would say he sees that this is going to occur. So, a recording would be like what we read in like Chronicles, or like, certain books that record things.
But
Nehemiah.
keep in mind, his vision is contains the whole entire scroll of the past and such and such. You realize that, right? So when he's talking
Well,
from his vision, he's actually talking from them as one record of how faulty they were.
well, he has to revisit the past, because the source of it is this covenant that's going to invoke. So that's why he's revisiting, our infancy and these covenants that were made. And it's almost like,
Mhm.
it's not going to be mercy, because this is a covenant that was made, a covenant broke, even showing like, and that's what helped me to understand and comprehend that all these years of us being in these places, everything that's happened to us, man, when you break down the fact that we were taking our children, and we were were killing them, and who knows what way we was killing them, but then we was offer up their blood to these Canaanite deities, these Egyptian deities, these damn Edomite deities. Like, bruh, that's, I don't know. It makes things clearer. It makes things more easy to digest and to understand. It makes it make sense why we ain't gonna have no damn savior that we believe in. Nah, this is built to ass why we in these countries, and we need to truly understand
Well,
that shit. Like,
the thing about the savior part, you have to know why that portion is always put in there. But that's why I don't know if you caught when you came on that last week. I gave Ezekiel chapter 18. That would eliminate any possible connection to any savior, in the end. But keep it going. You're doing good. I'm just, saying a few things to support what you're saying.
no, I'm gonna keep reading where we picked off. But I like that. I like that part right there where it shows that I'm gonna deliver thee to the Philistines, those that hate you. Um, we don't read that in authorized sources and in history. We're reading more like, of course, we read the Babylonian tale. That's already recorded and it's laid out and it's pretty clear. So there's this gray area here where a lot of these visions and a lot of these nations round about the enemies of Israel, have gotten changed and tampered with. Now the enemies of Israel are these other empires all of a sudden, when that's not the original storyline. As a matter of fact, it goes and contradicts the original storyline. But Ezekiel 16, where was we at? Verse 27, and if I stretch out my hand against thee, then will I abolish thy statutes and deliver thee up to the wills of them that hate thee, even to the daughters of the Philistines that turn thee aside from the way wherein thou sinned. And thou didst go a whoring to the daughters of Assur, and not even thus wast thou satisfied. Yeah, thou didst go a whoring and was not satisfied. And thou didst multiply thy covenants with the land of the Chaldeans. And not even then, and not even with these was thou satisfied. Why should I make a covenant with thy daughter, saith the Lord, while thou dost all these things, the works of a harlot, and thou hast gone a whoring in the threefold degree with thy daughters? Thou hast built a house of harlotry in every top of a way, and hast set up thine high place in every street, and thou didst become as a harlot gathering hires. An adulteress resembles thee, taking rewards of her husband. She has even given rewards to all that went a whoring after her, and thou hast given rewards to all thy lovers. Yeah, thou didst load them with rewards that they should come to thee from every side for thy fornication. And there has happened in thee perverseness in thy fornication beyond other women, and they have committed fornication with thee, in that thou givest hires over and above, and hires were not given to thee, and thus perverseness happened in thee. And then after that, it goes judgment on Jerusalem. And I'm going to read some of this. But my main thing with reading Ezekiel 16, is that we see other nations that we were polluted with, other nations that we were making covenants with, other nations that we were spilling blood with, other nations that, are going to have to turn this recompense back on our head. And now we are going to read judgment on Jerusalem. And keep in mind, this is my thing. This is a co-witness with Tyre and Sidon, or with the Hamitic nation selling us to the Grecians. This is harmonic with Jeremiah's visions and with what he sees, and with him name dropping all these nations around us. This is, very, very, very paralleled with things that were also written, and goes very abstract whenever you compare it with modern day history, because this is where I see this holds precedence over 70 AD. This would hold precedence over the abomination of desolation and all these other things that were given to us as a people, which kind of, that's where these intersections occur. But Ezekiel 16:35, judgment on Jerusalem. Therefore, harlot, hear the word of the Lord. Thus saith the Lord, because thou hast poured forth thy money, therefore thy shame shall be discovered in thy harlotry with thy lovers, and with regard to all the imagination of thine iniquities, and for the blood of thy children which thou hast given to them. So verse 36 again says, thus saith the Lord, because thou hast poured forth thy money, therefore thy shame shall be discovered in thy harlotry with thy lovers. So with this being with the context staying in Ezekiel 16, whenever Ezekiel shows and says that your shame will be discovered in thy harlotry with thy lovers, who would you say that those lovers are in particular that he's referring to right there, True, to just help with the context on this?
The reality, he's talking about all of the, throughout the history of what they have dealt with. Not just, even though Joel 3 is strictly, Tyreek and Sidon, when you read in Ezekiel 16, you get a view of all their deeds, all of their deeds. You know what I'm saying? But I'm saying, I'm letting you go in with the whole chapter, but you already touched on the main part, that mentions.
Yeah, I would think. Yeah, no, I'm not touching on it, but just reading Ezekiel 16 and even combining it with these other chapters, or just even using the geography listed in Torah with the neighbors of Israel, starting even reading the beginning portion of Deuteronomy and everybody that they ran through to get to the Holy Land. Like, we know that these lovers, which caused, because we know that the Northern Kingdom and Samaria's lover that ultimately cast them into their downfall was the Assyrians, and they were harlots to the Assyrians. So when it comes to the judgment on Jerusalem, and it shows that thy harlotry with thy lovers, I would say that would be the Canaanites. I would say that would be Ashur. I would say that would be the Philistines. That would be the Egyptians, the Babylonians, the neighbors of of Jerusalem in which they were harlots to. And we can read synonymously a bunch of
Obviously, that even
attestations
goes
about
into
that.
that even goes into to modern day times. Those that follow the Talmud, and you know what I'm saying? You already have that still going on today. So you are
But I would
absolutely
say
correct.
this though, true. I would throw this wrench in there though. When it comes to the source, like where we read in Deuteronomy, where it shows that we're going to serve gods that we didn't know, like new gods of wood and stone, I would say that that would point us to a more critical time period, more critical captivity in which, it might not be as laid back as some of the other captivities. And I say laid back because if you think about a 70-year Babylonian captivity, you're not really losing heritage. Like, like it's almost impossible to
Well,
lose
you got to
heritage.
remember that captivity actually was for that generation to get it together so that that stuff would not continue going on. But obviously, the same saga is really still continually doing the same thing, no matter what. It's still doing. That's why when I said Ezekiel 18, given a choice situation, it's basically affirming you sin, the soul belongs to me. It's gonna die. Those, you know what I'm saying? So no matter how you look at it, the whole punishment thing wasn't enough. Literally, this is what the Most High is basically saying. The punishment that I'm giving you seems to be not enough. So I'm amping it up and it up. That's what Ezekiel 18 is all about.
Well, I would think that the up came with these nations in these past hundreds of years of our captivities. I think that's when, this harsh punishment for us not walking upright. He gave us the Babylonian captivity, and that shit didn't really do nothing for us. It seems that we got even
Because we
more
think
wicked.
about what,
So
what what happened right after the Babylonian captivity. They do what? Think about it. The,
being
the
able to
hero
go
came,
back,
right? The hero came, Cyrus, and
Osiris,
what you got the Persians and Medes again. What did you think happened? They went into following up their ways, and think about
harlotry,
it. There you go again. There
harlotry,
you go again. And then
harlotry.
let's don't go past that, because we all know that when we read like on the Greek and all that stuff, like obviously it happened again until right now where we at now. It ain't changed.
Hey, so I want
Different
to keep
generation,
reading.
but same saga.
Yeah, I want to keep reading on this judgment portion, and then I really want to get some transparency on why we're reading it. So, um, yeah. So I was asking about who the lovers were. So verse 36 says, "Thus saith the Lord, because thou hast poured forth thy money, therefore thy shame shall be discovered in thy harlotry with thy lovers. And with regard to all the imaginations of thine iniquities, and for the blood of thy children, which thou hast given to them." You, man, tweak it. 37, therefore, behold, I will gather all thy lovers within, thou hast consorted, and all whom thou hast loved, with all whom thou didst hate. And I will gather them against thee round about, and will expose thy wickedness to them, and they shall see all thy shame. And I will be avenged on thee with the vengeance of an adulteress, and I will bring upon thee blood of fury and jealousy. And I will deliver thee into their hands, and they shall break down thy house of harlotry. What's the house? And they shall break down thy house of harlotry. That is the temple, the desecrated temple in which they were erect. And we're gonna read it again and again. And we already know that verse 39 says, and they shall break down thy house of harlotry, and destroying thine high place. And they shall strip thee of thy garments, and shall take thy proud ornaments, and leave thee naked and bare. They took the ephods, they stripped them of the teraphim, they tore down the temple, they desecrated the temple, and this is their lovers. And we already know the lovers were these Hamitic and Shemitic nations round about them. So where did we go wrong? Where did we allow this history to take a back seat? Our history, our true history, to take a back seat to authorized history, and that's where I'm at, like, and that's where I'm reading this, man, and it's like, bruh, I'll keep reading it though, but it shows they perform judgment on Jerusalem, and it's all these nations, and this didn't occur during Babylon, and it clearly didn't occur during 70 AD according to mainstream history. That's why the
No,
brother that's
it did.
invokes
It
this
actually
entire,
did. It actually
but
did.
that's
It
why
happened. It happened
the
throughout
brother,
all the times they went into captivity. You're right.
but that's why the brother that came on here started this conversation because he was confused. He said this didn't happen in history where we see these Hamitic nations sieging the temple and selling the Judeans, so it has to be future. We know that the future part is not even accurate, can't be right. So this was fulfilled. When was it fulfilled? This was fulfilled in the time period in which the Hebrews completely abominated the land, and we're reading about it. Ezekiel's visions about it. Jeremiah has visions about it. Isaiah. A
Jeremiah
lot of
7,
prophets
right?
have visions about it. Yes, so many.
So
Yeah,
you go on and go on.
specifically Jeremiah
And
9 too. They had visions
mhm.
of a time when these Israelites are going to be sacrificing their children, giving the blood to the neighbors and desecrating their holies of holies with this polluted blood. I would not take the position to say that was done repeatedly, because then that wouldn't be a sacred land. It wouldn't be a temple worth receiving any sacrifices. That sacrifice period would be cut off. As soon as you desecrate the holies of holies, the creator is not flowing through there. He's not accepting offerings. So it's not like it's an on and off thing. You either desecrate the temple, it gets torn the fuck down and reconstructed, or that's wrong. And you can pollute the holies of holies in your high places with children's blood or with pig blood or with damn squid blood. Who knows what the fuck they were using at that time. And it was still okay for the next day the holy high priest to bring um uh correct sacrifices that were smelt of and that were accepted. That's not a thing. So to me, I don't see this being repetitive, true. I see that this was a key point in our ancestral history in which this occurred to them. And here's the major juxtaposition. These Europeans place themselves here in this gap. And this is cap, especially from what we're reading basically here from Joel 3:6 all the way down to all the other visions of the prophets, even down to the source of Torah and this covenant. So that's just the main position that I'm taking. And I'm going to keep reading now. Um, verse 38, and I will be avenged on thee with the vengeance of an adulteress, and I will bring upon thee blood of fury and jealousy, and I will deliver thee into their hands, and they shall break down thy house of harlotry and destroy thine high places, and they shall strip thee of thy garments. And that's why bringing this out, I'm gonna pause again, is makes sense. Joel 3:6 shows that Tyre and Sidon, they sieged the temple, they ravaged it, they took the silver and gold. Right here, Ezekiel 16 co-witnesses with that and shows that those that we performed harlotry with, and one of them definitely being the Canaanites, they destroyed our high places. They broke down our house of harlotry. This isn't saying no foreign people, no strange people. This ain't saying folks who you don't know, folks you ain't never seen. This said people that you knew so damn well, you made covenants of blood with these folks, and they recompensed it right back on your ass. So it shows that, and they shall strip thee of thy garments, and shall take thy proud ornaments, and leave thee naked and bare. And they shall bring multitudes upon thee, and they shall stone thee with stones, and pierce thee with their swords. So they gonna kill y'all asses too. And they gonna have the power to do all these things and to perform all these judgments. And they shall burn thine houses with fire, and shall execute vengeance on thee in the sight of many women. And I will turn thee back from harlotry, and I will no more give thee rewards. So will I slacken my fury against thee, and my jealousy shall be removed from thee. And I will rest and be no more careful for thee, because thou didst not remember thine infancy, and thou didst grieve me in all these things. Therefore, behold, I have recompensed thy ways upon thine head, saith the Lord. For thus hast thou wrought ungodliness above all thine other iniquities. And by recompense these on your head, it's clear that the poetic language of this, well, the vision that Ezekiel received and how he interpreted it, is that you wanted to lay in the bed with these folks. These same folks is gonna come and run up in y'all crib and do these things to y'all. So you literally gave them the key to your front door. And that's where this recompense portion come in. It's not really saying nothing about one specific nation. That's why I don't see this being fulfilled at the time of the Babylonians, because I'm not seeing it just specified,
Well,
you
the
know,
thing is,
Nebuchadnezzar.
you got to remember you're reading Ezekiel 16. I know you went and you go in, you go in deep, but this is the Babylonian captivity. That's the reason why you're seeing this Babylonian captivity. This is why they went into captivity. This part of what you're reading, I don't believe you. This is not the vision part. This is Ezekiel giving the message before the temple gets destroyed. So obviously, it's not going to be only just about, because he's giving you, like I said, a backlash of the past. Right now, he's talking about the past.
So you see a time period where, so do you see a time period where that there were Canaanites that were ravaging and destroying the temple, especially in the Babylonian period? Do you see any supporting scriptures would show
Well,
Tyre
you
and
got to look at
Sidon
it.
being in
This,
the temple?
this is this is the Babylonian period, yes, but this is not when all of this he's talking about took place. What he's saying about their record of them is from the past. So
Uh-huh.
as far as the Canaanites doing us and that, I mean, you gotta go back in events that have taken place. They're not just Ezekiel have records of it. Jeremiah does same thing,
Hmm.
same thing. It's just that we're reading from the perspective of these people are in exile now, and he's got to give this message to them that are survived and in exile to get them to like shake them up, to wake their asses up. So he's reporting back to what he has learned from the Most High of their past, of the
So I'm
whole entire.
following you, but that's kind of where of their past is because he was
Mhm.
called to be a watchman. He was there amongst the captives. He was
Watching of
amongst
the
the
exile,
exiles.
of the ex,
So that
right?
means
Watching to those.
So that means his visions were pertaining to things to come. He wouldn't,
Mhm.
and even when we read Ezekiel 16, like we just read, it says, and they shall burn thine houses. It says, and they shall strip thee of thy
Yeah,
garments, and
yeah, he's
shall
talking
take
about
thy
he's
proud
talking about
ornaments.
at that point, what you're reading there, he's talking about what's going to happen to them from Babylon. What's going to happen? This is what he's doing. You got to remember, he had his visions, right? And he got to know the whole full report of the entire, Judah at that time frame. So this is him reporting back the situation of what the Most High is gave him. Is what you're saying.
Hmm.
It's not
So,
actually the
so
vision portion.
no, I do get that. I do get the time period in which he was receiving his visions. I do understand the time period in which he was designated to be a watchman, But
Mhm.
what I'm saying is that I don't see past tense in this prophecy right here, especially when it shows that, like verse 36, it shows, thus saith the Lord, because thou hast poured forth thy money, therefore thy shame shall be discovered in thy harlotry with thy lovers, pluralized lovers. And then this entire passage
Go to
speaks
verse
about
one. Go to verse one. Go to verse one. Right. Go to verse one, and you'll see right there. This will give you a hint too. Moreover, the word of the Lord came to me, saying, "Son of man, testify to Jerusalem of her iniquities."
facts,
Okay, of her
facts.
iniquities. Thy root and thy birth are of the land of Canaan. That's already telling you. They were problematic from the very beginning. Okay, their father was an Amorite and the mother, a Chittite or Hittite. So it's telling you from the door. And as for
Mm.
thy birth in the day when thou was born, thou didst not bind thy breast, and thou was not washed in water. He's telling you they were already, how you say it, f the hell up. That's what he's saying there. This is not the vision portion no more. This is what he received of basically of their history. This is their history. This is a record of them from the things that they've done before. You getting to see all of it, all of it, all of it, and all of it combined. That's why if you went to the next chapter, you'll see the tell of the two sisters are going to get that what happened to the two
Ubala
sisters.
and Ula. Yeah.
So that's what it is. But I know when you were reading it, you was getting very compassionate. And yes, you are correct. Because even the modern times today, we're still doing the same shit. We haven't learned the lesson. Captivity was not quite good enough. That's why the
But the
chapter
difference
18
though
is the
with
reference point.
But the difference with everything between us here and now is they were speaking their language still in the 70-year Babylonian captivity. They were still aware of the name of the Creator. They were still aware of their paternal lineage. They were still
No
aware of
doubt.
their roots and their land.
No doubt.
We're cut off.
No doubt.
We're cut off from those things right now. We don't all agree on the name of God or our language
You're
or the
absolutely
location of
correct.
our land or none of
Absolutely,
that. So I
absolutely
see
correct.
the repetitiveness, but it's not just like we can be nonchalant about, oh, this constantly happens. No, this is a time period that's critical for us as a people. This is larger than any other seven, because the only other exile that Judah has faced, you know, was Babylon. Well,
Right.
yeah,
That's
ever
in
since
our
they were a
Hebrew
nation.
manuscript. Yes. Right. In our Hebrew manuscript. Yes. The biggest of all those exiles. Yes. The most important one, or I should say, the one that's supposed to have gave us the greatest lesson would have been the one in the Babylonian, captivity. But obviously, when Ezekiel was sent as a watchman, he was sent there for those that are exiled that are there for that reason. Okay. For that reason. That's why chapter 18 is the important thing that we need to look at of how to get out of the problem. Nothing it's past the point of whatever these old prophets have stated already. It's past that point. It's past that point. The Most High
So
ante
are
will
you
get up.
so Ezekiel 18 is intended for us today.
That's intended for beyond then and even to us. Why I said he made an addendum to the law. Let me try to turn it to chapter 18. All right, so you can see where
So is
this is
it
where it
just
started.
particular to Ezekiel 18, or is there other
Yeah,
chapters in Ezekiel that still
no,
pertain to
the
us as
Ezekiel
well, or is it just
Ezekiel
Ezekiel
18.
18?
Yeah, Ezekiel 18 is pertaining to those of our past, far as
Mm.
from the exile period. I'm only going to go back to those that came out of exile to present where we are today, 2025. I'm not going to go further back before the Babylonian captivity, but we're stopping at after Babylon to present. That's why that chapter 18 is important. It ups the ante. And the word of the Lord came to me saying, son, what mean you by this parable among the children of Israel, saying, thy fathers have eaten unripe grapes, and the children's teeth have been set on edge. We're here set on edge today. We have been that way since beginning of our saga. Okay,
No,
now
I
verse 3.
agree. There's always bad figs and good figs. True, we know there's always
Mm-hmm.
going to be good
And they're
figs
gonna
and bad
and
figs.
they're gonna
But
always
here's
they're
the
gonna
thing.
always be. Mm-hmm.
But no. But here's the difference maker though. Back in
Mm-hmm.
Babylon, like we know the word from the Creator don't come back void. He's always said that even if there's a righteous man in the land, I'll spare that. I will spare that land. I will spare those people. You know, like I'm not going to
That's why.
completely destroy them if there's a
That's
righteous
exactly
man.
what you're
So
saying. Exactly
so
what you're
I would
saying. I
say
agree with you.
so I would say
I
that a
agree
lot of
with you.
these prophetic visions and a lot of these things were intended for a time period in which there was not a righteous man. And we see the prophets having visions of a time period in which there was no righteous man around. And that's verbatim from what they're
Right,
saying.
but
So that's whenever I could see.
hmm but like I said, he upped the ante when he gave us chapter 18. If you read that, you'll see why I'm saying no matter how the prophecies that were given to the ancestors really don't really matter because they didn't pay attention to them. They didn't take the pronouncements well, and that's why we're still here at the position we are now. But Ezekiel 18, chapter 18, changes that whole thing for us. One way or the other, you're either gonna do right or you're gonna or not do right. That's why this is important. All right. Let me read some more of it. Because
Well, let me
this
finish
is
this
from
Ezekiel 16.
mhm, go ahead. Like I said, it's
So
your spot, so you can have it. I'm just saying I want to dwell on that, chapter 18 for a reason
no, but
to
that's a
show,
good chapter to be
hmm
to be held. But I think
hmm
context is always going to be critical in these things and analyzing
hmm
everything. We
hmm
we gonna keep using context.
hmm Because like I said, I
So
think you wasn't on here like the last one, and I said it to E. I said this is the one that really goes from the past and goes into the future. This is the only one,
16,
chapter 18.
18.
Mm-hmm.
So in Ezekiel, where is it at? Where we at? 16. I'm just gonna finish this last portion out. So the verse 52 shows, "Thou therefore bear thy punishment, for that thou hast corrupted thy sisters by thy sins, which thou hast committed beyond them, and thou hast made them appear more righteous than thyself. Thou therefore be ashamed and bear thy dishonor, in that thou hast justified thy sisters. And I will turn their captivity, even the captivity of Sodom and her daughters, and I will turn the captivity of Samaria and her daughters, and I will turn thy captivity in the midst of them, that thou mayest bear thy punishment and be dishonored for all that thou hast done in provoking me to anger." Even that portion right there, Joel 3 shows that I will turn the captivity of Jerusalem, and some people were I forget who, but they were saying that that means take them out. But right here in Ezekiel 16, it shows that turning thy captivity means that you're going to bear this. But 54 shows that thou mayest bear thy punishment and be dishonored for all that thou hast done in provoking me to anger. And thy sister Sodom and her daughters shall be restored as they were at the beginning, and thou and thy daughters shall be restored as ye were at the beginning. And surely thy sister Sodom was not mentioned by the mouth in the days of the pride, before thy wickedness was discovered. Even now thou art the reproach of the daughters of Syria, and of all that are round about her, even the daughters of the Philistines that compass thee about. For as for thine ungodliness and thine iniquities, thou hast borne them, saith the Lord. So that's just, I just wanted to read Ezekiel 16 all the way down to 58 because it shows, even with 57 showing that the daughters of the Philistines compassed thee about. It seems like these nations had a part to play in the destruction of Jerusalem. And don't forget that when we started this particular portion, the subtitle in the Septuagint was Judgment on Jerusalem. So this is
Mm-hmm.
I'm just saying that to say we got to find that time marker place where these nations had a part to play in the judgment. And I get saying that this is reoccurring, but I wouldn't say that the Babylonian siege and that 70 years reoccurring, or that Nebuchadnezzar is like, that seems very specific to that generation of Jeremiah's time frame, Ezekiel's time frame, and what occurred to those people. That seems very
Mm-hmm.
specific. I can't say that there would be another 70-year captivity because we don't see that
No,
happening. So
this time is worse. It could be an endless captivity.
no, this
That's
time
why.
is worse. But true, but that's why, and I wouldn't say it's even endless. Like that would be, I don't see, like there's always dates put on things, and that's where even
So
from the start of time.
that's why I'm holding to what you're saying. I'm not saying anything against you, but I'm going to let you know that's why that chapter 18 is the killer of all. So no matter what, uh, you know, the toughest captivity we can be put in, we have something that we can seek
We
our
always
way
have
out
a
of it
way
through
out.
this.
We always
Mm-hmm.
have a way out
That,
because the
mm-hmm.
Creator said that his intentions is not for us to just, stay polluted. That's not the intentions. It's for us to turn
Mm-hmm.
from the wicked ways that we were once doing
Mm-hmm.
as a people. There's always
Mm-hmm.
a get out of jail card, but you have to
Yeah,
humble down to it.
that's where Ezekiel chapter 18 comes in. That's why I'm
But
saying
here's
this
my
to you for
thing
that
though,
reason.
True. For the
Go ahead.
past 400 years, I don't see that being able to have been invoked. It seems like people had to deal with their punishment.
Well,
Ezekiel
that's why
22 even shows,
that's why
uh-huh.
it's very important. It's very important what you're saying. That's all great and all of that, but chapter 18 it puts in literally an addendum. Now it's not no longer on the entire nation anymore. It's on your
Yeah.
individual hide itself. You'll see it when you're done. We're gonna go through it.
We
Be
could go to it
patient.
now. But this is my thing though. We started off with Joel 3:6 and dealing with who sieged the nation. Now we're gonna
Right.
deal with with how to live. I don't see how those two are connected.
Well, it's connected because guess what? It kind of bypasses all the expectations of what you would say, or somebody would be saying what the prophet Joel was talking about, or the prophet Zechariah was talking about, or the prophet Jeremiah was
So
talking
it's
about, or
null and
any of those
void
prophets.
what they were talking about, right? So hold on. So as soon as we get Ezekiel 18, then we might as well just throw out everything else, right?
Pretty much.
Damn, true. So what's the point of having it, or even discussing it?
No,
What
no,
would
no,
be
no,
the
no, no,
point
no, no.
of dealing
It's
with
not that.
Jeremiah
No, no, it's not that.
if
It's
it
not
gets
that.
overridden?
Right. It's not that. It's just that. Remember, you said you had came in when you came in last week. You came in on, and I think me and E was talking about Isaiah 53. He brought that
Mhm.
Isaiah 53 up. The kid that brought Joel up, he came on that like afterwards. He came in
Mhm.
on the conversation, not even knowing what we had already discussed. So that's why I was trying to
Nah.
tell him by him coming on with it. I just entertained the conversation about the Joel 3 thing because literally, I already knew that there's no way around Ezekiel chapter 18. Nowhere. You can talk about it from the past, you can talk about it in the future. There's no way around it. You have to, you know what I'm saying? You have to get your shit together, literally. Or if you don't get it together, guess what? That's on you, brother. Or that's not saying you, but I'm just saying that's on you. That's on, you know what I'm saying? That's on whoever asks. So any captivities that do come, like even now, if we consider ourselves in some type of form or fashion of a captivity, it really wasn't not good enough to get us to get our asses right the first time. So you think the captivity gonna change it? It ain't gonna change it. It ain't really the captivity ain't any excuse anymore. And that's what I'm saying. That's the portion that I think you might have came on. You were missed because you came in on the part where E was trying to use Isaiah 53 as a bypass of chapter 18 of Ezekiel. And I was trying to show him that it ain't no bypass. There ain't no bypass on this planet. There ain't a scholar that can bypass this chapter. There's nowhere, no way, no how to bypass this. Zero. You can't even get, like, say, if the JC narrative was real, he can't bypass it. And there is no scripture written after this, like what I'm saying, from the Most High, from His own, we say, thus saith the Lord, that bypasses this. This is an addendum to Torah right here. It's not saying that you don't gotta do, you don't gotta follow anything, because it tells you in here. It clarifies everything in here, and it gives you reasons why.
Ezekiel 18 is the main sword that OT only used, but for you to say that it overrides a lot of things, I don't know, man.
It
I
kind of
don't know,
overrides it
because
to a
look,
point.
like specifically in like Leviticus 26, he says that I didn't have an intention to break the covenant that I made with your forefathers. It's gonna stay the same. It's the same covenant, so I don't see how something can override something that's intended to stay the same.
Because Leviticus 26, as you just said, Leviticus 26, right?
Yeah, no. But I'm saying this though, like I mean, I get it though. Like keeping on a straight path is better than the animal sacrifices outside the land. Like that's not what I'm saying. But when it
Mm-hmm.
comes to Leviticus 26, the entire covenant and contract that was intended for the forefathers for us to be reunited back with the land, that's still invoked. So there's a way for us
Yeah.
while in exile to abridge that.
Exactly. That's why that's why I said you said Leviticus 26, because Leviticus 26 specifically is really part of this statement. This is in Ezekiel 18, and the reason why,
No, it yeah.
as long as you can pinch yourself, like as long as you got life in you, you have an opportunity to get right. When you no longer have life
No.
in you, now you got a problem. That's why chapter 18 is it's very, not necessarily when I'm saying the word uh to put all the prophets, whatever they pronounced aside. That what, if you look what the prophets were pronouncing, right? It didn't work. It didn't work.
Mm.
It didn't work, because guess what? Stiff neck generation came around afterwards. Another generation came afterwards. It's
Hold on.
still in this
I got a
point to this
question real
day.
quick.
Mm-hmm.
And it's based on Ezekiel 18. Said the soul sin is the soul die, right?
Mm-hmm.
What did the Most High called us to do when He said we be scattered amongst the nation? And what does sin look like?
I mean, when you're saying that from the point of view of being scattered, the only thing that you really go back to get that kind of answers was Jeremiah sent towards the letter to the exiles, those that were in exile. So we'd have to pick from that. But that still doesn't bypass this chapter.
No. My question is, what is sin
Mhm.
scattered amongst heathen nations? What does that look like?
Hmm. Taking on their ways, really. Literally. Anything that that pulls just stuff against the Torah, against the law, pretty much. I mean, it's really, we have to utilize Torah to find out what he's against, obviously. So I
Right.
mean,
But I would go
uh,
like Second Chronicles 7:14. If my people will
mhm.
humble themselves and pray.
Right, exactly. That's still, like I said, that's still, you got to humble you. If they would humble themselves, right, this would be sure enough of him just saying that if you humble yourself, you're
But
going to
hold
fall
on, you
into
said there's
chapter
no
18.
use. Hold on, walk with me real quick, True. Because he said he
Hmm.
sent us into captivity to humble us because we are a stiff necked people,
Hmm.
prideful nation. So captivity has to do something because he's not looking for a mass amount of people to be humble. He said a remnant.
Hmm. I agree
So
with you.
that captivity has to be like belt to ass. It has to humble you.
Oh yeah,
And
yeah,
if
yeah,
you're
yeah, yeah. Captivity. When I said that statement of the captivities were not quite good enough for us, I'm referring to the ancestors. I'm not talking about us because we're in a
Yeah.
captivity exile situation right now. And if you
Mhm.
if you see how the pain of it is going through
But
with
no,
that,
no,
and
no.
you say
But
that's
walk with
rolling
me
the
real
eye,
quick, True.
you
I
better
get what
humble
you're
yourself.
saying. Hold on. Walk
Hmm.
with me real quick, because like Aaron's saying, it was because that captivity or those things prophesied was for particular nations. So it was section of nation that was supposed to experience hard servitude,
Hmm.
i.e., our ancestors, transatlantic slave trade, however you want to put it. And it
Hmm.
was some of our ancestors before then that experienced exile out of the land, not being far,
Hmm.
but you know what I'm
Hmm.
saying, not being close. You know
Hmm.
what I mean? It's sections. So the prophetic word, it doesn't like it's not a blanket like prophecy where it covers everything and all. You know what I mean?
You're right. You're right. That's
Let
just
me
like the
hey,
Deuteronomy curses. Hmm.
yeah, let me hey, true. You we in
Hmm.
Ezekiel 18. Go up like three more chapters. I just want to bring out a scripture. Ezekiel 22.
Hmm. Hmm.
Yeah, verse 15.
15.
Yeah, it says, I will what's up, bro? Are
Hmm.
you there? It says, and I will scatter thee among the nations and disperse thee in the countries, and thy uncleanliness shall be removed out of thee. And I will give
Hmm.
heritages in thee in the sight of the nations, and ye shall know that I am the Lord. And then the
Hmm.
next part is the refining furnace, where it says that his intention is to burn your ass, you know.
Hmm.
It just seems like that's the intention for if there was a period of people, that descended from a generation that completely abominated the land. And that's why going back to the source, to the covenant, it really highlights that there will be,
Hmm.
that this isn't something that can just be invoked at any time. It's going to be invoked one time when,
Hmm.
folks are sacrificing their kids in the holies of holies. Like, when folks
Hmm.
are complete where there's an idol on every high place in the entire land. Like, this is when
Hmm.
this punishment, this extreme punishment will be invoked. And that's why, like someone like myself and others
Hmm.
understand that Genesis 15 passage is dealing with that harsh punishment.
I agree with everything you're saying. Both of you guys, I agree with what you're saying. But like I said, I mean, like I said, you came on and I guess at the end of it, and I had stated, I said, there is no bypass before it, and there is no bypass afterwards. And it's great. You like Ezekiel 22. You can go on. I mean, if there was another book that was written, there's nothing that's going to bypass chapter 18. Now, what you're showing in chapter 22, that's what we call like a scary straight tactic for that nation at that time or that generation or any other generation that come after. And obviously we're here. We're that generation, period. We the end results. And at this point now, like he said with the humble, we have to humble ourselves. We have to do that. And obviously captivity, what we're going through in exile from our land and our heritage being lost, that should be enough to wake asses up. We're clarity. You know what I'm saying? I'm not saying that, oh, don't worry about that part no more, this and that. We're gonna look forward to we coming out of this captive because we're not until we get them asses together. Okay. And if we don't get our asses together, that's why chapter 18 is very important. That soul that sins belongs to the Most High, because the good or the bad belongs to Him. You don't want to act right? Okay, no problem. No problem. You should die. You do not. You live. Literally, there's no way around it. Your soul is important. It's the only real time
Yeah,
it's
no,
actually meant.
yeah, but I think that's why he was asking more about what quantifies the sin, and
Oh
And
yeah,
what
yeah,
the
yeah, yeah. No,
punishment would be,
I
you
get him
know?
with that. I get him with that. I mean, my thing was I can't turn around and say that guy across the street, his sin is more harsh than that other guy's who's is less. You know, I'm going with the fact of it. We got to stop altogether sinning. Period.
Yeah, no, I
And
get
the
that.
fact that
But
the fact that there will probably will only be in the long run a remnant of us that actually don't see the situation that the end result of it. You know, even in this captivity, you know, it's tough. I get it. I get it. I get it.
No, it's not though, because me personally, I don't fear death, and I actually looking forward to sleeping with my fathers because I hold on to Ezekiel 37. You know what I'm saying? The Most High raising a righteous soul to live again, to
Mhm,
be placed in the
mhm.
land, to experience the prophetic peace that He had promised to the nation.
Right, right,
So
right. That's why I still go back with, like I said, the soul portion. That's why Ezekiel 18 is talking about a soul, the
right,
soul. Now he's not talking about like your present flesh as you live in now. He's talking about literally, you don't do right. You being blotted out. You won't be a part of Ezekiel 37. You get what I'm saying?
yeah,
That's what I'm talking about with Ezekiel 18. It's saying your soul, your soul.
right. But that's to me like you can't kill energy. So your soul, you know what I'm saying, shall die, meaning your ass ain't returning.
Correct. 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 But I mean, not saying anything against like when a person that would say he doesn't fear, like nobody should fear this physical where we're in now, because this is abomination here. I mean, literally, it's abomination. Okay, it's abomination, and to me, to be quite honest, it needs to be ended. You know, and obviously,
But
the only
that
way
judgment
out
has
of it,
to take its place.
yeah, you know, there's nothing we can do about that. Death is physical death from this planet. There's nothing that we can do about it. There ain't gonna be nobody that's gonna escape that. Whether you think you can live sin free, you're not gonna escape that either. You're not gonna escape that at this point.
mm. So you're saying so hold on. So in Ezekiel 18, is it a physical death or is it a spiritual death?
No, this is talking about your soul death. This is like your final death. You can forget it. Spiritual part, it's complete. One reason why I wouldn't say spiritual death, because that gets people to mislead it, thinking that we're spiritually not even here. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to go through all that matrix thinking and all that. But this talk about final, you know, go like Ezekiel 37. That's how you got to look
Right.
at it.
Yeah, like it's physical,
The real
spiritual.
thing.
If you want to put spiritual, like
Mhm,
your ass is no
mhm.
comeback.
Yeah.
No comeback. You're gone. Done for.
Yeah, no left way.
Mhm. No fix. Blotted out. Like Moses tried to give up his soul, but the Most High wouldn't allow it. You get what I'm saying? That's another killer to anything that the New Testament indoctrinators try to pull. You know, he wouldn't allow Moses to do it. He volunteered to do it. So how do you think that is going to work? We can't volunteer ourselves to do that.
Mm. Well, yeah, man. It's still like the good thing is that there's there's of course a lot of information to come out on this topic, and
And this
we just
and believe it or not, there are people, and I say people, I'm talking about of Israel, of heritage, that even if they knowing that their soul is on the line, they don't care. They're still gonna do. They gonna do. They're gonna whore after. They're gonna do whatever they're gonna do. You get what I'm saying? They're gonna do it no matter
no for
what.
sure. Mm. So, but going, because I'm not gonna shoot, man. I want to jump back on. Uh, I don't know if y'all can hear, man. It got loud in my house, man. Everybody just got back, so. I want to keep on going on with it, but to just get back to the meat of it with the whole this entire thing revolving around Joel 3:6. Are like from your position, are you saying that that's not being specific to Tyree and Sidon selling Judeans to Grecians? Is that not like what is that to you? Is that like did that occur? And when did it occur? I would want to ask.
That's the thing. We want to like address that. I'm down with that. When did it occur? Well, the thing is, what source are we going to use? The only way to really do that, we're gonna have to do some real research in these manuscripts. You know what I'm saying? We got to go back to the time where he would have been talking from, and that not necessarily going to help either, because we don't have, when we look at the prophet Joel, we have very, very limited
One of
things
the
in
most
there,
limited. Yeah.
right? But the only thing we do have is we have the Sudan and such such. Well, I put names on it, basically Bel, Isabel. You know what I'm saying? Or Tyrus. Literally, if you go to chapter 26 of Ezekiel, we get those names there. But as
So
far as,
what? But hold on real quick, True. So you do agree that Joel's time period was like an early prophet. He was like for sure pre-Babylonian, correct?
oh, way before that, I
Like way,
believe
way,
that,
way before, right?
yeah, I believe he was the actual first
The
prophet,
first prophet,
right,
yeah, allegedly.
of the Judah for Judah during the time
After the
frame
split.
of the youngest king we had, Joash. So I would say that,
Ahaz.
but mhm, but at the same time, there's like that his prophecy does leak so far out that you could say it had been written during the Babylonian, during the exile period. It could be either through, what I'm saying, vice versa. But there is nothing that we have literally through his writing, because it's very short. You know what I'm saying? Very short to even say, well, his pinpoint is he was in the 800 BCE or he was in 500 BCE. We don't have that. You get what I'm
No, we
saying?
don't.
But when he,
Not. No, I'm saying no. I agree with that. I'm not trying to build him off timelines, but even like lineage, he's even well before like King Hezekiah.
yeah, oh yeah, he's
He's
before Hezekiah. He's before Hezekiah.
yeah.
He's around about
Not. He's
contemporary with
probably like
Elisha.
yeah,
He's
like
contemporary with that. Even when you
around
said
that time frame.
Obadiah, he's contemporary with that. He's contemporary. I would
Yeah.
say
So
a
my
little bit
thing is
before, a little bit after Jose, who was also the last prophet of both kingdoms. Hosea was the last prophet of both kingdoms, but that could put Amos and Joel pretty much in contemporary with each other. You get what I'm saying? All the four of those.
yeah.
But at least you think about, you talking about the prophet, at least you're going way,
But
way, way back. Way back.
oh yeah.
Way
No,
back.
but
That's why I said
the
he's
thing
probably the
about Joe.
first prophet of Judah.
Yeah, but the thing about that though is with him being a prophet, then we understand that, there's times where these prophecies aren't intended for their generation. Because if he's mentioning Grecians, they weren't even a nation until I couldn't even put a timeline to it, but it like
Well, that portion,
well
that
after him.
portion, right? But that portion, you have to identify that portion based upon the heathens tampering with these manuscripts. Okay, even though we read it in English, the heathens tamper with
So is
our
it not
manuscripts.
Grecians originally in there? Is that a transliteration from another nation, from like some other
I
nation?
would have to, I would have to say it because we don't, that we don't read anywhere about the Grecians but in two places, and the other place, Daniel, and and only
No,
Joel.
there's
We
another
don't.
mention of Grecians. There's another mention, I think, Zechariah.
Well, that we got to remember, Zechariah
Zechariah
is
speaks on
like,
Grecians too.
right, but I'm saying Zechariah is like a ladder. To call it a ladder pro. That's after the
Yeah,
exile.
would be more inclined to have known about this empire, if anything, other than like a Joel. But my thing is that so if Grecians is in addition, then where does the buck stop then? Like so things can be because so your position is that Joel 3:6 showing that Judeans are going to be sold to these Grecians. The Grecians probably meant an older nation, and not necessarily the Grecians that we know of them today.
Right. I wouldn't say Greeks. I wouldn't put that label on them.
Who would
I
you say
would
that it
say
was then? If you would take
it's
the
pretty much.
Grecians out of there, who would you put in that
Mhm.
place?
You can say Javon, you can say Japhet seed. I mean, I'm not saying you can't utilize them because you can go all the way back to like, remember that they were trading, during the Egyptian time. You know what I'm saying? Before that, so they were going on for a long time.
No, I get that, but I would just say that it's kind of, I don't know, man. I think that's kind of a dead end area to show that,
I mean,
you
it could be
know,
even tell you the truth. It could be hidden gems in there that we don't know about. That say that the Grecians,
no, but I think that we can.
whoa. I mean,
But even in that Ezekiel 16, I mean, if you see it from my position and from what I'm saying, and not seeing it from this has been fulfilled, that was a clear vision that these nations around would be sieging and destroying the temple and doing all these abominations. And that would make
well,
more sense to me
the only reason
hermeneutically
why
rather than,
I don't want to go that level because you're gonna open up a can of worms for like the
but that's what
other
we're doing this whole
persuasions,
discussion for, though.
right? Open up a can of
That's
worms for
what
other
we're doing this
persuasions.
whole discussion for, and we're also including them onto this
Mhm.
roundtable discussion because this
I'm not
opens
talking
up
about the
doors.
Christians though. I'm not talking
Oh,
about the
okay.
Christians. I'm talking about those that follow the Maccabees and all of that crap. That's what I'm talking about.
No, but
That's what I'm
this
talking about.
kills them emphatically though. This doesn't open up doors
Mhm, mhm.
for
And
any
then when you talk
Antiochus
about
or
it,
anything of that nature. This kills that notion. This would kill the notion that these Grecians desecrated the temple because we can thoroughly see even in that Ezekiel 18 or Ezekiel 16, bro. We just read that these nations that were their lovers, that were their consorters, they're the ones that defiled their high places and and their holy temple, their house of harlotry.
mhm,
It said they did it. So I can't give credence to Antiochus or to a Titus for doing what clearly Ezekiel said these nations did, these Canaanites did, even with Joel showing that Tyre and Sidon did this. I'm not going to say that was an addition, or I'm not going to say that
mhm.
could be perceived this way. I'm going to give them what they said, and that's where we're at. Like as far as this topic and why there's this intersection because I say exactly I back up what they say. If Tyree Sidon or if any of these nations had a part to play in desecrating our land and selling us, then that's what I agree with. And even the old adage that white folks always say, like Africans sold Africans into slavery. We
No, no,
see
no, no. You do
Hamitic
remember.
nations
You do
selling
remember the portion that you
Judean.
did state. You do remember the portion that you did state that I think in 16 and in 22. You got to remember, even though the heathen is loving to take credit for certain things, obviously, you know that they shouldn't be taking any
Yeah,
credit
yeah.
for because you know that the Most High is the ultimate one that would have put us even in captivity. He's the one that did it. He may have used the Sennacherib for the Assyrian. He might have used them as the tools, to bring out the
Yeah, it's
wicked
gonna
stick.
always be his
But it's
credit though. Yeah.
right. So that's a way where I would look at that too. So, I mean, I don't give credit to none of those other nations. You know what I'm saying? It's like with the
Yeah.
Cyrus thing. I was under the false impression that Cyrus it's the one that illustrated it, but we have to know that the Most High is be the one that gave him the will to do. You get what I'm saying? He gave the will to Nebuchadnezzar to do. You know what I'm saying? We can't say, well, Nebuchadnezzar was such a bad God because we know that such because where do we read that?
You would
But
have
we
to
do
go
know
back to
that,
the root and call him bad too. That's why I wouldn't
right?
cast judgment on
Hmm.
on certain things that have been used as erotic correction because it's been needed. It's
Hmm.
100% needed.
Hmm. It's like if we would say like Hiram is the original, when it was the good connection with, the relationship with Israel and Tyre. But like I said, after that, you had like Baal worship has been going on for like that's been throughout the whole entire literally. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I mean, it's the same theme, just different generation that's still going through, and even to this point in time. I mean, people are not say per se worshiping Baal under that name, title Baal. They might be worshiping Baal through a different name. I say a different name. You know where I'm going at. I'm leaving at that. I'm not gonna because we do gotta look out for EB. That's all I'm saying. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So
Nah,
But
but
you know,
I'm gonna pop up. I'm gonna pop up again when you say that EV gonna do his breakdown, and we'll bring a lot more to the table, man. Unfortunately, I am gonna have to jump off here very soon, so I can
but
get back
when
right
EB
there.
when EB does his, you know, like I said, it's going to be basically him reconvening, and I'm going to come back to him and I'm going to hit him with he's no get around chapter 18 if he's Ezekiel.
Mm.
So no matter what he comes up with, and I don't have no problem with those that believe that they are connected back through their whatever. If that's the way their path comes in, great. If that's what they swallow, that's on them. I'm not going to knock them for it. I'm going to leave it at that. You get what I'm saying?
Mm.
But keep in mind, he's good people. He's good people. He's been
No,
with
of
us
course,
for the
we know
longest
that.
time. He
Yeah,
gives us,
man.
you know, good beat and bones, regardless of the outcome. Just like this great
Yeah, no,
202, he's a good
exactly.
character, very good character. He'll dialogue too, but unfortunately, very, 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 you know, not himself. He's somebody else's doctrine he's speaking, literally, and you can't do that with us. You get what I'm saying?
Mm.
We see right through it, literally. Because iron sharpens iron. No matter what you know how you look at it.
Yeah, shit, man. I think EV brings some iron though, man.
Mhm,
That's why I've been enjoying it.
mhm. I mean, he's like I said, he's gonna have his take on that particular thing, but you know, me, I might not even do it now because I'm looking at it like y'all got me amped up and fired up. Like, is it even really worth it? You know what I'm saying? Is it even worth it? You know, we all made good points, I could say, but like I said, it's a great 202. I wasn't kind of like leaning towards his path with it because I gotta be truthful. I gotta be truthful. But let E have his in peace. You know what I'm saying? I know
Mm.
it's gonna be tough. Let him have his in peace. Let's hear it. Let's hear his take. Well, I would love to have
I'm interested.
JN on here to say his piece on it. I would love to hear that, but you know that ain't gonna happen.
Yeah,
That is
we ain't
not
worried
gonna
about
happen.
no foo-foos.
That ain't gonna happen. You can forget
Shit.
that.
Shit, man, what's good with you though, Dottie? Shit, man, you good? Shit, I'm about to hop up off this.
Yeah, bro. I'm in here cooking late. I'm about to do the same
Bruh,
thing.
I'm about to put some groceries in my stomach. Shit, bro, they just brought some
Bro.
food home. I'm hungry. I ain't trying to be smacking in y'all ear, man. So
You're
I'm about
right.
to. Yeah, I got
Hmm. Hmm.
that.
Same here, bro.
It's always a good shoot.
Before you go though,
It's a good bill.
right
Yeah.
before you go though, you gotta, you know, you shalom out. I know both of the cards in the state. I know he ain't gonna want to come on right now, but let's just shalom our way out to make this be like it was. It was a good dialogue.
Nah, I just ain't about to jump off, man, like that. I just had to. I ain't heard from Dodie, and I'm like, shoot, man, I don't know if the brother
Oh
jumped
yeah.
off or
No,
went
I'm
mute.
still on this joint.
Okay. Yeah, I ain't just trying
Mhm.
to hop off, man. But shoot, man, just let me know the next time that you're gonna be going. Bro, it's always a good build. It's always good to get some perspectives on everything, even on these time frames. This would help even bring all of us to the points we at now. So a lot of these
Well,
discussions that been taking place.
like I said, I need. It's kind of hard now. My partner, he had death family, so he's going through some things. So actually,
Yeah.
right now, I'm kind of like trying to keep the site up. You know what I'm saying? So really, I can go on anytime, you know, whatever. But I mean, you gotta come on. You gotta take some hosting. Be doing some hosting. That's all I can say. You know, thanks to brother
And we're gonna
Picard.
keep building,
He
man.
helped hosting, so we got to keep it moving. You know what I mean? Even I might even have a 202 sometimes. He may come on and help host. You know what I'm saying?
Uh,
It's just that I want to make sure that we start the shows at the time schedule. That's all I'm saying. 'Cause I don't want to like if I start it out and then we have naked time in there, it doesn't look good for the platform. But other than that, once we get started, we get started. But yeah, I'm trying to do it again. You know, Friday. We definitely do our standard on Saturday, and obviously you guys available Sunday. We can do something on Sunday. We can set it up. I'm here. We can always do something.
mm.
You know what I mean? It's no problem. No problem. And this topics are never going to really end as long as that we can touch on new and fresh things that are not normally touched on. Like we're
Yeah.
starting to do that. We're
Well, that's
starting to
normally
do that.
what we do anyway. So
Hmm.
All right.
we gonna always agree on what's there to clearly be agreed on, and that's
Hmm. Yeah, I'm just
always
me
really.
personally. I'm kind of beat because I'm tired of the same old, same old, same old.
Yeah,
I
no,
mean,
you ain't
I
gonna
done
hear
touched.
me dealing with these same, Esau the white man ass shit, bro. Like
Yeah, I'm
some of
tired
this
of that.
shit is just like niggas on repeat, bro. They robots, man.
I'm so sick
And
and
aren't
tired of
searching for
that. It's
themselves.
ridiculous.
That's just showing that they limited in their study. You know what I mean?
Fact.
They've been programmed to recycle the same old text. You know what I mean? The same old verses, same old scripture. So,
Hmm.
you know, it is very redundant.
Hmm. But this Saturday, I want to put a close. I know you guys didn't really catch the first one or two. I want to put some closure on the I started talk about the One West stuff like that, and that's how this triggered off of that, and other things triggered off of that. But I want to put some closure to that. Then from there, keep it going, keep it going. We would do little mini series on certain things, touch on certain things. Like I know for a fact dealing with Joel give an eye opener to like say King Joash, right? We got to do something like that. We don't talk about things like we don't talk about even like the Hezekiah, even though we always hit them in the head with it, but we got to talk about some of the things like that. You know what I'm saying? We will like do one on some certain certainty of some of the Psalms. You know what I'm saying? I mean, we can touch on a lot of topics, no doubt. But I'm
A
just
lot
tired
of
of the
people take
same old.
a lot of people take the songs as prophecy, which kills me.
Yeah,
That's
absolutely.
fact,
And
man.
I think I heard that brother from last week. He ended up saying something, and I was like, first of all, not all psalms are written by David or pertain to David,
Mm.
and you know what I'm saying. Some psalms are there from other people. It just happened to be
Right.
they canonized it in what we call the Book of Psalms. You
Right.
know what I mean?
But it's literally titled the Book of Songs.
Hmm. Correct.
Like, how do you go to that as a prophecy?
Hmm.
It's giving
Hmm.
reverence to prophecy, I believe, but it's not a prophetic song.
Exactly. I've been trying to tell them, I've been saying that for years, but the guys they don't see it that way. They read more into the text than the actual. Because each one of these psalms, I can say that, and I can attest to this. Every psalm that is written, right, has some type of backstory or side story where it pertains to. You
Right.
know what I mean? So if these guys would only, I mean, it's easy to do most of all the one that David wrote, but there's like plethora of meat and fruit and everything when it comes down to these scriptures.
Mhm.
There's always meat and fruit. But the normal traditional guys, they keep leaning on the same shit all the time, the same old shit. I want to talk about the man of God, First Kings 13. I wanna knock that out. You know what I'm saying? I want to touch on that, but nobody want to really touch it. You know what I mean? Not saying when I say nobody, I'm not talking about you. I'm talking about like the general population.
Right.
They don't want to touch these things.
Man, folks repeating and then not diving into things that, are opening up, you know, other discussion topics. Just sticking,
Mhm.
staying on the same walking trail, you know.
And then what do you call it? Flat Earth. I don't want to hear that crap. That's all distraction shit. Be honest with you. I mean, it's a good features, but what is that doing to alter the saga of the house? Nothing. Absolutely nothing. That's what these guys can come up with. And I'm not saying that they're continually doing that. I'm just saying like shit like that. I'm being honest.
It's the
Waste of time.
same thing. So,
Mhm.
you know, topics like this really help expand, you know, our vernacular when it comes to this. our history and our ancestral scrolls, man. It really helps us open our minds up, because I like,
Yeah, anything
even
anything
this
pertaining
topic
to
that we're
heritage,
dealing
I'm
with
down
now.
with. Hmm.
Yeah, no, but even this topic right now that we're dealing with and how, those around us, how we were with them, and then, things that occurred to us based off of those interactions, I think it's imperative. It's real important to dig into.
Hmm. Hmm.
But yeah, I'm about to jump apart, man. Peace and shalom to all y'all, though, man. I mean, it's been a good, it's been a good bill.
Hmm.
Most definitely. I
Absolutely.
just let
Hmm.
me know next time we having this. I'm here.
All right, I'll definitely let you know. But like I said, I know I can contact you, Dodie, by messenger. I don't know where the hell I can find her, but either the way you've been doing it is fine. Like even when this show is over with, you hit me up here. I always put a link in there. I don't have no problem with it. YouTube is like social media to me too. You know what I'm saying? So I have no shame to it.
That's
All
the
right.
bet, man. We gonna stay in touch, though, man. Shoot, man. Y'all boys have a good night, man. Stay safe.
Already. Shalom, shalom.
Yes,
All right.
sir. Shalom
Shalom
to
to the
y'all.
car. Shalom, shalom, shalom,
Yeah,
Galilee.
shalom to all y'all.
We're out of
Peace.
here.
What do you want? I'm gonna kill you, you bastard!
It's the juk. All you see is crooks. Shout out to Havoc, good looking on the beat. Forever P. Street life was good. About to go in, son. Look, red bones and red bottoms. Like Red Bull, we gon' give 'em wings, we red dot 'em. Candy rappers, send 'em in, we red hot 'em. Headshot 'em, go against my grain, get head problems. Big dummy, garbage rappers, we red fox 'em. Shoot an actor in high depth and red box 'em. Tip the scales in my favor, stay in your top 10. If life's like a triple beam, I'm weighing my options. Y'all like why meth, you high meth. Keep a big popper, cause I ain't ready to die yet. I digress, or I'm just too intense to digest. Stretched in a Pyrex, compliments to my chef. Game ain't been the same since I left. Is they really crooks or just a pain in my neck? Wu-Tang, ain't no lanes in my set. Fresh pair of Nike Airs, I just do it for my check. I'll be the first to tell these rappers, get your bars up. Shout to P, you know it's havoc when we mob up. I tell that smut, date over, pull your drawers up. Cigar guts, all up in the club, putting squad up. Throw your squad up. Throw your squad up. Throw your squad up. Cigar guts, all up in the club, putting squad up.
I swoop in, shooting like I'm paratrooping. We all in, we riding, we carpooling. My whole crew, we diving, we platooning. Salute me or shoot me, Huey P. Newton. Your buffoonery is quite amusing. This is not monkey business, stop cooning. It's a method to my madness, I know what I'm doing. There's a reason.